in Kibale. The committee visited the locus and interacted with the several Bibanja holders. Information obtained from the residents of the area indicated that most of the Bibanja holders settled on the land, believing that it was part of a resettlement camp, as it is close to the Kibale resettlement camp. The land was valued at Uganda shillings 1,444 million. The proprietor was advanced 50 million on the 8th of August 2016. The outstanding amount payable is Uganda shillings 1,494,000,000. It's important to note that the said claim property is the subject matter of the petition 2021, alleging that the land was inflated by 254 hectares. The committee came across a letter dated 13th November 2018 from the Secretary of the Commission of Inquiry into the Land Matters, observing the erroneous indication as to the area of land for Mugisa Godfrey in the payment records as 475.1 hectares instead of 208.30. He noted, however, that the said error did not affect the value. He noted as well that as Mugisha Jeffrey instead of Mugisa Jeffrey, and advised the Land Commission to correct the two errors before further payment were made. The committee discredited the petition, alleging that the said land acreage was inflated by 254 hectares, given that the actual established land measures 208.3090 hectares. Recommendation. Since the claim on this land has been part of the stock at the Uganda Land Commission for long, the Commission has already transferred the propriety to itself. The claimant should be paid the balance of Uganda shillings outstanding, should be paid the balance of Uganda shillings outstanding since 2016. The fifth claim is that of Namuli Natalia, Block 147, Plot 2, Buyaga, Kibale. The above land is located in Chamukama, Buyaga County, Kibale District, measuring 516.2000 hectares. The land was first registered in 1932 in the names of Kalete, the biological father to the claimant. It was transferred in the names of the claimant as an administrator of the estate of the late Atwani Kalete on 22nd July 2020. The said land was valued at Uganda shillings 2,039,000,000 Uganda shillings. The valuation was value 187/274/01 dated 17th July 2020. It should be noted that in the presentation of the appropriation schedule number 4, Namuli's claim was reported to be Uganda shillings 100 million, and that she had never received. Ms. Natalia Namuli, the claimant, told members that she had so far received a down payment through her lawyers in Kampala, Messrs. Lubega, and Buzibira and Company Advocates. Records indicated that she had given her lawyers irrevocable powers of attorney on 22nd July 2020. 2020, and on checking with the records available at the Uganda Lands Commission, it was found out was paid Uganda shillings 450 million through her lawyer on 23rd November 2020, and the outstanding amount is Uganda shillings 1,589 million as at that date. Recommendation: the claimant is of an advanced age and is living with her sick and bedridden mother. The committee recommends that the outstanding balance of 1,589 million be paid. Then the sixth claim is that of Busulwa Julius, Block 281, Plot 2, Chankuba Village, Matale, Chibale. The above land measures 560 hectares. It was first registered in the names of Uganda Thrift PP number 4380. On the 6th of July 2020, at 1:59 a.m., the said land was transferred to the names of Busulwa Julius under instrument number KIB 0004080. The land was valued at 2,212 million. He was paid 812 million, and the outstanding amount is Uganda shillings 1,400 million. The committee noted with concern that the signature of the registrar at the time of the first registration in 1972 is the same signature at the time of transfer to Busulwa, 48 years later, in 2020. We've attached the copy and it's marked Annex 2. The committee observed that the authenticity of this title is suspect. The committee interacted with Mr. Busulwa and the bona fide occupants during the meeting held at the locus on Wednesday, 28th April 2020. In the said meeting, it was revealed that Busulwa's family is a Kibanja holder and still living on the same plot of 120 acres. Did not dispute this assertion. On further identified this land and had obtained letters of administration to the estate of one of the shareholders before offering to buy the land. He stated that he purchased the said land from Uganda Thrift Company at Uganda shillings 120 million in 2017. However, the committee received the purchase agreement dated 4th January 2013, indicating that a sum of Uganda shillings 70,821,000 was paid by Mr. Busulwa Julius, shareholders of Uganda Thrift Company Limited as of land, which is a subject of this claim for compensation. The claim by Busulwa that he obtained letters of administration over the estate of one of the shareholders of Uganda Thrift Company was therefore falsehood, as the agreement bears 3 signatures of the said shareholders. It should be noted that Mr. Busulwa had previously in 2018 transacted and was paid for land in the same area cited as Block 282, Plot 4, formerly Plot 2. The title was Fenekansi Mujenyi, as administrators of the estate of the late Magdalena Nanju. The committee inquired into the details of the Uganda Thrift Company to determine whether Mr. Busulwa was one of its shareholders. The response received from Uganda Registration Service Bureau noted that Uganda Thrift Company Limited, the original owners of Plot 2, Block 281, had no file at the Uganda Registration Service Bureau. The committee also noted with concern the unusual urgency in settlement of Busulwa's claims. We noted that his claim with the Kano Fenekansi Mujenyi for Block 282, Plot 4, formerly Plot 2, was fully settled. In addition, he was paid Uganda shilling 5 million on 12th of October 2020, and the Uganda shillings 400 million on 23rd November 2020, being part payment for Plot 2, Block 281. Note that the same commission had not settled other claimants' claim, some dated way back as in 2003. It should also be noted that information received from the file of Mr. Busulwa Julius at the Uganda Land Commission indicates that he, Busulwa, forged a land title for Block 270, Plot 1, land at Kigobegobe. The letter dated 12 February 2021 from Ngobi Ndoko Advocates, addressed to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and copied to the Honorable Chairperson of the Budget Committee, is attached here as Annex 3, A and B. The above narration about Mr. Julius Busulwa points to a high possibility of fraud, which the committee was unable to establish and conclude on the way forward due to the time constraint. The committee, having observed that the claim by Julius Busulwa raises suspicion given the records obtained from Uganda Registration Sub Uganda shillings 1 billion as claimed by Mr. Busulwa and presented by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development should not be approved. The claim should be referred to CIID for further investigations to establish the manner in which the land was obtained, as well as the authenticity of the title thereof. Madam Speaker, our terms of reference number 2 talks about the basis for the determination of the selection of beneficiaries and the amounts of compensation. Due to the short time I have, I would invite members to the third paragraph of page 12. Then we go on to page 13, and the items that are needed, one has to make an expression of interest if you are the applicant asking, and we are strengthened by case law. I mean, there is annex of a claimant who, even having expressed interest, his land was not looked at and his claim has not been attended, gearing to the fact that it's not first in, first out, it's something else. So we can read page 13. and we'll give our recommendation on page 14. The Uganda Land Commission from inception has abdicated from the fundamental duty of making its mandate and itself known to the members of the public. The Commission should prioritize sensitization of the public about the procedures for offering land to government and how the public can move from Bibanja holders to the landowners. That is our recommendation. Then we go to boundary openings and surveys, read the procedures, and our recommendation 41(8) of the Land Act, which requires that the staff of the Commission responsible for the management of the land fund be identified. Then 3223, Land Fund and as a committee. Again, I invite members to read on, and we'll read the recommendation. We said the committee recommends that the Commission should establish the Land Fund Committee as a subcommittee of the Commission, constituting and or any other qualifying member. Co-titles. Madam Speaker, this is very important. We noted that almost all this land in question are already transferred into the Uganda Land Commission without any adherence to Article 26 of the Constitution, which spells out the steps to be taken, and that the landowner should be paid prior to the acquisition. So our recommendation is on page 17. The Commission should take note of Article 26 and the Supreme Court decision in the Constitutional Appeal number 2 of 2014. In the said case, it was held that government should ensure prompt payment of fair and adequate compensation prior to the taking of possession or acquisition of the property. The Commission should consider the recommendation number 2. The Commission should consider halting receiving new applications and arrange to clear the backlog of the outstanding claims before taking on new claims as per the moratorium issued by the permanent. This letter is dated 13th January 2017, and it is annexed as number 6. Recommendation number 3, the government should consider obtaining money specifically for the purposes of clearing the backlog of claims for the land fund. Recommendation number 4, the Commission should establish and maintain a proper and accurate record of all its transactions. Madam Speaker, we found that they really didn't have records, and when we asked, we were even told, even if we gave them 2 months, they would still not give us the accurate records of claimants at the Land Commission. Through the Agency of Compensation under Supplementary Expenditure, the committee noted that the reasons advanced for the generation of a supplementary expenditure request were insufficient. Reasons such as presidential directives, lost counties, urgent medical attention, purchase of land elsewhere do not show any urgency to warrant a supplementary expenditure. Members were dismayed to find that provisions in the Public Finance Management Act 2015 on supplementary budgets that give criteria to what qualifies to be a supplementary budget was conspicuously amended in the latest amendment to the Public Finance Management Amendment Act 2015, rendering supplementary expenditure requests an easy walk. Indeed, Section 25 of the parent act is now virtually a skeletal provision. Recommendation: Parliament should reinstate the repealed subsection of the original Public Finance Management Act, providing for the criteria for considering a supplementary appropriation. Parliament should amend its rules of procedure to assign the sectoral committee to look into supplementary appropriations for their sectors in detail before reporting to the Budget Committee. 3.326, initiations of supplementary expenditure. Again, there is a procedure and it is detailed, and I just want to read the recommendation. The recommendation 1, the Uganda Land Commission should be left to carry out its mandate. Now, I think, Madam Speaker, this is the genesis of the letter of complaint by the chair of the Uganda Land Commission. Allow me read it. Arising from the constitutional provision on accountability in Article 164, which requires that the permanent secretary or the accounting officer in charge of a ministry or department shall be accountable to Parliament or department. The accounting officer under the Public Finance Management Act is responsible for the initiation of the supplementary expenditure, and accordingly, the minister may, upon request by an accounting officer, approve a supplementary budget up to 3% of the contingency fund. The committee noted with concern that the supplementary expenditure schedule under review was initiated by the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, with no input whatsoever of the spending entity. This prompted the action of the chairperson, which I already said earlier. Besides, it is the accounting officer of an entity supposed to originate a supplementary expenditure schedule as opposed to the political head. This explains why the supplementary expenditure request by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Vote 012, was initiated by the permanent secretary. On the contrary, this supplementary expenditure request for Uganda Land Commission, Vote 156, was initiated by the Honorable Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. This was very irregular and an illegal act, as it amounted to the usurpation of the powers of the accounting officer of the Uganda Land Commission, and it disenfranchises the managers of the Uganda Land Commission, an independent entity with an independent vote. The two supplementary expenditure initiation requests under the same Schedule 4 are attached as Annex 7A and B, respectively. Recommendation: the Uganda Land Commission should be left to carry out its mandate as established by law. The Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development should adopt a well-coordinated approach of initiating supplementary budgets, and in all cases, the accounting officer should be involved. 3, the minister should take note of the requirement of the law and desist from usurping the powers of the accounting officer by initiating a supplementary expenditure without the officers' input. Madam Speaker, we have the seventh claim under the supplementary of Messrs. Ephraim Enterprises Limited, St. Peter's Church Land, Ndeba, land at Kibuga, Block 7, Plot 39. This land measures 2.0661 acres. The evaluation report indicates that it has been encroached on by both Weraga, Kalinda Road, and Lubiri Ring Roads. The residual and usable land size measures approximately 1.95 acres. The land was first Everin in Achua on the 7th June 1941 in an instrument 51352. It was then transferred in the names of Bishop D. Nsubuga and Reverend Y.S. Kitaka and E.K. Kizito. The instrument there is Kampala 97611 on 3rd March 1981 at 3:15 p.m. In 1987, the above registered proprietors applied for a special title, alleging that the duplicate certificate title had got lost. The plot was later divided into two plots, 749 and 750. In 2008, the administrators of the late Evarista Nanchwa sued the administrators of the estates of the late registered proprietors jointly with the title to the names of Bishop Nsubuga, Reverend Kitaka, and E.K. Kizito was secured fraudulently, and thus they were seeking for cancellation of the said title. Madam Speaker, the members can read, but it was a protracted case until I think I better read it. It's quite important.
Just read the recommendation.
I read the recommendation. Okay. Thank you. Madam Speaker, before I read the recommendation, there is a very special item on the President wrote on this particular incident when the church was demolished, and he actually intervened. But I want to read a request on 23rd December 19. The said land was evaluated by the chief government valuer at 2,925,000,000 plus Uganda shillings 877,500,000, being disturbance allowance at 30% of the value. They received a request. This is the one I wanted to read. The committee received a request as an easement in the nature of a cultural heritage site known as Oluzi Kalinda, which is of great cultural importance. It sits on the same land. The size of this great importance to the kingdom is that in that it is from where water is drawn for the coronation ceremonies of the Buganda kings, King Kabaka. The kingdom is now seeking to obtain an independent title for that part of the cultural heritage as indicated in their letter annexed 8. The committee noted that government is already in the process of combining enterprises on the basis of public morality. It is meant for the reconstruction of the church, which was demolished, and that commitment has been positively made to the Christian community affected by the demolition of the church. Recommendation, Madam Speaker. The committee recommends that the payment of Uganda shillings 3,802,500,000 be approved to compensate Messrs. Ephraim Enterprises Limited, the registered proprietor. The last claim, Kichoncho Medat, plot 671, block 201, land at Chadondo, Mengo. The above land measures 3.89 hectares and valued at Uganda shillings 3,844 million. The land is registered in the names of Kichoncho, and it has been, having been transferred from Paul Katabazi Bitarabeho. This is the infamous Lusanja land, which has been a subject of conflict for some time, which conflict culminated into the eviction of over 338 families, when up to 162 houses were broken down on the 12th of October 2018. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister of Uganda on the 26th February 2020 formed an interministerial committee to handle the land dispute, which on the 27th February visited the said land and addressed and evicted Bibanja holders. The team reassured the tenants that their occupation on the land would be maintained by government. This position was reaffirmed when the High Court Execution Division issued a stay of execution order in favor of the Bibanja holders on March 2025. Government then resolved that the plight of the tenants who were settled on plot 671 of block 206 at Chadondo be handled by government, and the need to support development. This minister extended some support by way of temporary shelter to the affected persons. The Attorney General had earlier, in a statement presented to the House over the status of Lusanja land, informed the House that the judicial officers, the Chief Magistrate who presided over the case, and the Assistant Registrar who authorized the execution process had been charged by Judicial Service Commission for cases related to conduct prejudicial to the good image of service and other related charges. The committee visited the locus and observed that the occupants were desperate and highly of government intervention in their situation, and hope to be reinstated in their previous state of the same land. The occupants had already started resettling on the land, and some of the demolished houses have been reconstructed. Number 3, the said land is situated in a reclaimed wetland. Our recommendation: the government should, on a humanitarian basis, acquire this land and resettle the affected people on it. 2, Parliament should approve the sum of Uganda shillings 3,844 million for payment to the registered proprietor of the land. Madam Speaker, terms of reference 3 as for land acquisition under the laws. Members will read, as we earlier stated, the legal frameworks that are available, and our recommendations are as under. Number 1, government should continue to implement the decision of the Supreme Court Authority, or Supreme Court of Uganda in the case of Uganda National Roads Authority versus Irumba Sumani, which I had said earlier. Also indicating that Article 26 of the Constitution must be followed. Recommendation 2, the Uganda Land Commission should always be involved in the acquisition of all land by government, since it is the custodian of all government land. 3, the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development should develop and foster a harmonious working relationship with the Uganda Land Commission and operate in a coordinated manner in all the operations of the Commission. Madam Speaker, terms of reference 4, other matters indicated to the terms of reference. Under other matters, we found the land fund, the operation of the land fund. We found that monies belonging to the land fund are being operated together with the Uganda Land Commission account. Our recommendations: the Uganda Land Commission should strictly adhere. A, the minister should ensure that monies are provided to the land fund and ensure that the fund is duly established, since it was required to be established within 1 year after the coming into force of the Land Act. B, the Commission should open and maintain a separate account for the land fund from its other accounts. C, the Commission should submit to the Minister once in every 6 months a report on its operations in the